For more than a decade, it's been the biggest question in all of sports, sparking endless arguments everywhere. So today, we're going to try and settle it. We're diving deep into the greatest rivalry in modern football, Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi.
I mean, it's the question, isn't it? Who is the GOAT? For the better part of 15, 20 years, these two guys have made that question almost impossible to answer. They've just completely owned the conversation. And they didn't just dominate the game. They totally changed it. I mean, think about it. Their careers ran side by side, creating this incredible loop where as soon as one did something amazing, the other had to go and top it. It was just a non-stop battle of unbelievable stats and broken records.
All right, so how in the world are we going to tackle this? Well, here's the plan. We're going to start by making the case for Ronaldo, and then we'll make the case for Messi. After that, we'll let the numbers do the talking and decode the data. And finally, we'll look at their shared legacy, which, let's be honest, is still pretty unsettled. Okay, first up, Cristiano Ronaldo. The whole argument for CR7 really comes down to him being the complete athlete, a perfect storm of physical power, insane discipline, and a drive to win that is second to none.
And you know the argument is serious when a legend like Pele weighs in. For him, it all boiled down to one thing: consistency. So let's unpack what that really looks like in Ronaldo's case.
For people in Camp Ronaldo, he's probably the most complete physical specimen the sport has ever seen. You've got his raw power, his incredible ability to hang in the air for headers, the fact he can score world-class goals with both feet. It's a package that could be dropped into any team in any league and succeed. And all of it is fueled by a work ethic that's become a legend in itself.
And this right here is a huge point for his supporters, his adaptability. Look, it's one thing to be great in one place, but to prove it in 3 of the toughest, most different leagues on the planet, from the speed of the Premier League, to the technical skill of La Liga, to the tactical, defensive-minded Serie A, he didn't just get by, he dominated. Not many players can say that. And nowhere was that dominance more obvious than on the biggest club stage there is. Ronaldo is the all-time top scorer in the UEFA Champions League. We're talking a staggering 140 goals. When the lights were brightest, he showed up.
So how does a guy play at that level for so long? Well, it comes down to a level of discipline that is just insane. This isn't just training hard. This is an obsession. His entire life is engineered for peak performance, from his 6-meal-a-day diet to his famous sleep method of taking 5 90-minute naps. It's a 24/7 commitment to being the absolute best.
Okay, so that's Ronaldo, the ultimate athlete, built in a lab. Now let's flip the coin and look at the case for Lionel Messi, the player everyone calls the ultimate artist, someone whose talent just feels like it's from another planet entirely.
And who better to talk about Messi than the legendary Diego Maradona himself? He really nails a key part of the Messi argument here, just the supernatural consistency. I can't remember having seen Lionel Messi play badly. That's an incredible thing to say.
See, the argument for Messi is all about a different kind of greatness. It's about his impossible dribbling, where the ball just looks like it's glued to his foot. It's about his vision, seeing passes that nobody else on the field can see. He isn't just a goal scorer, he's the guy who conducts the entire orchestra, making everyone around him better. And when you talk about individual awards, this number just shuts down the conversation. 8. Messi has won a record-breaking 8 Ballon d'Or awards. That means 8 times his peers and the top journalists in the world have officially named him the best player on the planet. For years, for what felt like forever, this was the one thing people could hold against him, the one trophy he couldn't get his hands on. But then, in 2022, he finally did it. Leading Argentina to a World Cup was more than just a trophy. For so many people, it was the final piece of the puzzle, the moment that ended the debate.
So we've heard the emotional arguments, the philosophical ones, but what about the cold, hard data? Let's decode the numbers from their biggest battles, especially in the competition where they faced off the most.
Now, at first glance, their Champions League stats look insanely close, right? Ronaldo played more games and scored more goals, but they're basically tied on assists. But you know, the big numbers don't always tell the whole story.
And here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about how many goals you score, but how often you score them. And when you look at pure efficiency, a different picture starts to form. Messi scores a goal more frequently, and if you include assists, he's involved in a goal every 80 minutes. It's a small edge, but it's a consistent one.
This stat really highlights his overall impact on a game.
Just look at these average match ratings, season after season. It shows that even when their goal numbers were close, the analysts who break down every single touch consistently rated Messi's all-around game, his passing, his dribbling, his entire influence at a higher level. It's a measure of his total control.
And what about creativity? The passes that set up a shot for a teammate. Well, here again, the data gives Messi the edge. He's been responsible for 55% of the key passes between the two of them in the Champions League. That really underlines his role as not just the finisher, but as the main creator. So, after all that, where does this leave us? The numbers are tight, and the arguments for both sides are powerful. Maybe the real story isn't about who was number one, but about the journey they took together.
This quote really nails it. It's the perfect way to describe their rivalry. They weren't just opponents, they were fuel for each other's fire. Every single time one of them broke a record, it just set a new target for the other. They pushed each other to a level of greatness that, honestly, we'd never seen before and might never see again.
And maybe this is what it all comes down to in the end. They really represent two totally different ideas of greatness. Are you more impressed by the relentless athlete, the one who sculpted himself into the perfect goal-scoring machine? Or are you captivated by the natural artist, the genius whose talent seems almost effortless? Your answer to that question probably tells you who you think the GOAT is.
But what about the people who actually played the game at the highest level? Well, in a survey of 28 football legends, guys who played with them, against them, and truly understand the game, the verdict was surprisingly one-sided. While Ronaldo got a ton of respect, Messi was chosen as the greatest of all time by a massive 3-1 margin.
But in the end, maybe there isn't a final answer, and maybe there doesn't need to be one. Instead, their rivalry leaves us with this incredible question to think about. Is greatness defined by the perfect, disciplined athlete, or is it defined by the magical natural artist? Maybe the real takeaway is just how lucky we all were that for 15 years we got to watch them both.